Hello. Today we will talk about diseases that exist in the world. The first disease is COVID-19. COVID-19, also known as coronavirus disease 2019, is a contagious disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. The main symptoms of COVID-19 include fever, cough, fatigue, and respiratory symptoms such as difficulty breathing. Although most cases of COVID-19 are mild, in some cases, it can lead to serious complications, including pneumonia and respiratory distress syndrome. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on global society, the economy, and the healthcare system. A number of measures have been introduced to combat the spread of the virus, including quarantine, social distancing, masking, mass testing, and vaccination. Examples of the impact of COVID-19. Social distancing. The introduction of quarantine and social distancing has led to changes in people's lifestyles. Closing of schools, restaurants, shops, and other public places has become the norm. Economic impact. The pandemic has caused economic instability, reduced production, and unemployment. Many companies have suffered losses, and some have been forced to close their doors permanently. The next disease is cholera. Cholera is a contagious disease of the intestinal tract caused by the bacterium Vibrio cholerae. It is characterized by severe watery diarrhea, vomiting, and dehydration, and can be fatal in severe cases. The spread of cholera is usually associated with the contamination of water or food by the excretions of people with cholera. Examples of the spread of cholera. Water epidemic. Cholera is most often spread through contaminated water. Inadequate treatment or runoff from people who have cholera can contaminate water sources such as rivers, lakes, and water systems. Unsanitary conditions. Living conditions where people do not have access to clean water or lack basic sanitation are conducive to the spread of cholera. This can include indoor plumbing problems and poor hygiene. Traveling. Cholera can spread through the travel of people who have the disease from one region to another. Poor conditions in transportation and lack of access to hygiene products can contribute to the spread of the infection. The next disease is plague. Plague is a serious infectious disease caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis. It can take several forms, including bubonic, pneumonic, and septic plague. Plague can be fatal if left untreated, and historically it has caused major epidemics such as the Black Death in the Middle Ages. Examples of plague epidemics. The Black Death. In medieval Europe and Asia, a plague epidemic known as the Black Death caused a large number of deaths. It began in the mid-14th century and resulted in the deaths of millions of people, a significant portion of the population at the time. Modern cases. Although the plague remains rare in the modern world, there are occasional cases of infection. For example, in 2017, a case of pneumonic plague was reported in the Indian Armed Forces. Epidemics in African regions. Some African countries, such as Madagascar, have experienced bubonic plague epidemics in recent years. For example, in 2017, Madagascar saw a large number of plague cases, resulting in the deaths of several hundred people. The next disease is HIV. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, is a virus that attacks the human immune system, reducing its ability to fight infections and disease. The illness caused by HIV is known as AIDS, human immunodeficiency syndrome, and it can lead to serious complications and death if left untreated. Examples of diseases caused by HIV. Transmission of the virus from mother to child. Women with HIV can pass the virus to their babies during pregnancy, childbirth, or breastfeeding. Without appropriate treatment, the risk of mother-to-child transmission increases significantly. Sexual contact. HIV is transmitted through sexual contact with an infected person, especially without protection. This can happen during pregnancy, unprotected sex, or sharing injection equipment. Contact with contaminated syringes. People who use drugs can contract HIV through sharing contaminated syringes and injection equipment. The next disease is the bean plague. Bubonic plague is an infectious disease caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis and often manifests itself as acute inflammatory reactions of the lymph nodes. It can take many forms, including swelling, pneumonia, and septic shock, and can be fatal if left untreated. Examples of bubonic plague. Historical cases. The medieval plague that caused the Black Death was the most famous bubonic plague pandemic. This epidemic killed millions of people in medieval Europe, Asia, and Africa. Modern cases. Although bubonic plague has become rare in developed countries, it can still be present in developed regions of the world. For example, in certain areas of Africa, Asia, and the Americas, cases of bubonic plague may occur from time to time. Cases in animals. The Yersinia pestis bacterium can infect animals, especially rodents, which can transmit the disease to humans. For example, in the 1920s in China, bubonic plague was known to have been caused by flea infestations that were transmitted from mice to humans.